Hello and welcome to McDonald's.
Thanks for having me in.
What can we get started for you today?
Can I please get 2 Big Macs with a side of large fries, a large Coke, and a chocolate chip cookie?
Of course. That will be $12.17.
Hello and welcome to our first podcast, Freaky Fast Food. My name is Molly Behrens and I'm here with Grace Allenstein, Ryan Choi, Justin Singston, and Julian Olsener. We have just read the book, Fast Food Nation, and we are pleased to have you on the show today. Today, we'll be immersing ourselves into many environments that we don't first think of when we think of fast food. There are close to 50,000 fast food chains and about 500,000 fast food restaurants. The numerous amounts of restaurants, variety, and easy accessibility are influential to the success of these fast food chains. I'm here now with McDonald's employee Becky. Hi Becky, and thanks for coming on the show today.
My pleasure. I'm glad to be here.
You're a high school student who works at your local McDonald's. What is it like working there?
It's pretty nice. The boss is really nice and the people are really nice to work with, and there's a flexible schedule since I'm in high school, so it's great.
Do you frequently eat at McDonald's or other fast food restaurants?
Well, I get a discount at McDonald's. I sometimes get free food, so I tend to eat there pretty frequently, but other than that, I don't eat at many fast food chains.
Have you ever had a poor experience at McDonald's or any other fast food restaurants?
Yeah, at Chipotle, like most people know, there's the E. coli outbreak, and so that was a pretty poor experience, but other than that, not really.
Awesome. Thanks for coming on the show today, Becky.
Yeah, of course.
Most of us go about our busy lives grabbing food on the go without thinking much about what is in it. We mistakenly assume it because it's sold on shelves. It's regulated with healthy consumable ingredients. In reality, you must be surprised at what kinds of additives and chemicals are legally allowed in some of the foods we eat regularly. Prepacked foods must have enough ingredients to last onto the shelf and into the consumer's house. Chemical preservatives keep the food fresh for longer, and over 14,000 labs made additives enhance its shelf appearance. Research estimated that the United States consumes 1 billion pounds of chemical additives each year, averaging out to be approximately 6 to 9 pounds per person. While the use of these chemicals is kept so quiet as possible for obvious reasons, they have been associated with a number of negative health and behavioral conditions. A lot of these chemicals you will already know the names, like artificial flavoring, high fructose corn syrup, and a bunch of other ones that are very hard to pronounce. So I'm going to save my time and not humiliate myself, but most of them are just for appearance and making sure the product will last long enough for the consumer to eat it. The United States is the world's top oilseed producer, followed by Brazil, China, Argentina, and India. People in the United States consume more than 2.5 times as many grams of vegetable oil per day than they did 50 years ago, according for more than half of the 26% increase in calorie consumption. Americans ranked 4th globally in per person calorie intake, with sugar and fat sitting at 37%, grain 22%, produce 8%, dairy and eggs at 14%, meat at 13%, and other at 6%.
Kids has been a big impact for the fast food industry. Companies are targeting the kids for their own benefits. In 2012, the fast food industry spent $4.6 billion to advertise the unhealthiest products. Children and teens remain a key audience for the advertising. The chain understands that kids love toys and includes 1 in 20% of all sales. Each year, McDonald's distributes 1.5 billion toys worldwide. That's more than Hasbro and Mattel. Some crazy things in the United States is that about 220 million Happy Meals sold each year, which is about 602,000 Happy Meals per day. Also, McDonald's is visited by 90% of American children monthly, and the study shows that 48% of fountain drinks dispensers have traces of fecal bacteria on them. Many fast food meals have added sugar. Not only does that mean extra calories, but also little nutrition. The American Heart Association suggests only eating 100 to 150 calories of added sugar per day. That's about 6 to 9 teaspoons. Many fast food drinks alone hold well over 12 ounces. A 12-ounce can of soda contains 8 teaspoons of sugar. That equals 130 calories, 39 grams of sugar, and nothing else. I'm out here with Dr. Alex Kang. We will have a short interview about fast food.
Good morning. My name is Dr. Alex Kang. I'm a dentist, a specialist in dentist called prosthodontist. My main group of patients that I treat are geriatric or elderly patients.
Hi, nice to meet you, Dr. Kang. I have a couple questions to ask you. My first question is, how does fast food affect our body negativity?
Well, diet is a very important part of our overall health. In many cases, fast food is highly processed and contains large amounts of carbohydrate, added sugar, in other words, refined carbohydrate, and very unhealthy fats like trans fat, and including high sodium. So these can affect our body several different ways. Processed or refined carbohydrates can lead to elevated insulin.
Thank you, Dr. Kang, for that fascinating information. Now, let's talk about farming. It is estimated that the average American eats 1,996 pounds of food over the course of 1 year, and a majority of that food comes from the fast food industries. 1 in 5 Americans eat fast food several times a week. Have you ever thought about where all that food came from and how much work goes into bringing the food to you? Both farmers and meat packers put themselves in extreme danger in their day-to-day lives. They put themselves in danger by working with dangerous, sharp machines for very long hours. Many of these workers are immigrants who work for a very slim portion of money that they can barely survive off of. Also, most farmers are extremely stressed because of the tough competition between them and the next guy to sell the most products. The top products sold are beef, potatoes, and chicken, and McDonald's is the nation's largest purchaser of beef. To conclude, Americans should remember that the food they eat doesn't just appear from thin air, but that farmers raise the animals and work long, hard hours for this food to come to you and your family's table.
Throughout the better half of the 20th century, fast food nations have reigned supreme over society. Whether it was through the commodities that these corporations flaunted as incentives or the actual food that they were serving to the American people. In order to properly analyze the effects that fast food would have on society, we need to first discuss the beneficial implications it had in our country. There is a good and bad side to everything. In the case of fast food, everything is exponentially more complicated, partly due to the time period these corporations sprang up and dominated the American economy. The obvious benefits this wave of fast food brought was the economic value to our country. Corporations such as McDonald's and Carl's Jr. were integral parts of the perpetuation of the American dream. The idea that a foreigner could come to our country with nothing and with just a little bit of inventiveness and luck, one can turn from an insignificant immigrant to the CEO of a Fortune 500 company. This idea of a quick and affordable meal with a family-friendly environment had never been conceived before, and when it was in the sprawling apparatus of America, further fueling this idea. With the inventive and intuitive idea of not one, not two, but 3 aspects of the dining experience, which were then collaborated into one setting, these founders had struck gold, a forever monopoly, forever transforming the food industry as we know it. Although the affordable prices and the hunger-quenching food may have appealed to the average American, little did they know the dire side effects this kind of food had on their health. With the development of machines that could mass murder living animals and turn them into pancakes that sold for $1.50, many corners were cut in the production of quality assurance in turn for economic benefit. Of course, during the time period, people weren't familiar with the new chemicals being put into their food. This because chemicals like this weren't needed before that wave of fast food came in. In order to successfully mass produce their products, many preservatives were used along with growth hormones that were fed into the cattle during their cultivation. Not until the late 70s did people begin to realize that these companies weren't being fully transparent with what they were giving to their consumer.